Good morning, everybody. Pastor Rick here, Broadman Baptist Church. Hope you're having a marvelous day in the Lord so far. I want to talk to you today, particularly on this September 11th, remembrance. I hope you're remembering the extreme sacrifice that first responders went through, and I'm sure untold scores of others who tried to help that day. The sacrifice people were willing to go through to help another, to help somebody in need, to reach out, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what the risk, no matter what they personally were in jeopardy of losing. There was people in need, and folks rushed in to help. Many of them perished themselves. You know, no greater love has a man than to lay down his life for another. And so we saw on September 11th a massive outpouring of that kind of love and courage. And we need to remember that in our daily lives. And so I have a short scripture for you here, referencing helping others. It's from Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10. And in verse 10, it tells us that God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you have helped his people and continue to help them. And 11, we want each of you to show the same diligence to the very end, so that what you hope for may be fully realized. So we can see that God favors those who help others. And in fact, it is a mark of being one of his children, being in his will, acting out his will. I have a brief story for you here. There was a man in history, Herbert Hoover. He was vice president and president long time ago. But when he was in college at Stanford, he and a friend, his roommate, were having difficulties paying their tuition and other bills. And so they came up with a plan to have a concert. And so they wrote to a well-known pianist at the time. Last name was Paderewski. He was Polish and was in the United States, and told them of his plight. And then he said, of course, I will come and play. Well, the goal was for them to reach $2,000 so that they could pay him and so that they could have enough money to continue on in their studies. Well, they didn't get 2,000. They only raised 1,600. And so they were feeling like they were in jeopardy of losing Paderewski to come and play. And of course, all their work and the whole deal was going to be a bust. But when it came time and they told Paderewski, like, hey, we don't have the 2,000. And he said, well, what do you have? And he said 1,600. And in an act of simple help to other human beings that were just trying to get themselves through school at Stanford, Paderewski said, I want you to take away your costs from this 1,600 plus what you need, and then another 10% just for yourselves, and give me the rest. And so he didn't have to do this. He was a well-known pianist. He was making, he could have played that night anywhere. Even at a last-minute cancellation, he could have found somewhere else to go and made easily $2,000 or close, minus expenses. And so what we see here is just one human being committing a simple, small act to help out another two human beings who are trying to get through life and improve upon themselves. I think in this society that we live in now that is so divided over so many things, and there is such angst over pretty much everything, and people are so disconnected from each other, just trying to do their own thing and not really living as Christ tells us, but not even as the original American ideology would have it. And so it's causing failures in our society, untold failures everywhere. There's even thousands of churches that are closing each year around the world because people have given up on themselves. They have become distant from Christ and the purpose that we're here for. They've lost sight of why God brought us to salvation through the work of Christ and what He wants for us now. And it's not working. So, listen, I want to encourage you to hit the reset button on your life. Look at other people differently. Look at your mission as a Christian differently. And part of the ministry of reconciliation that Christ left us with is, in fact, charity and grace and help. We are to care for each other. And as Hebrews says, God is not unjust. He will not turn from notice of the work that you do to help. So listen, brothers and sisters, I love you. I hope you have a marvelous day in the Lord. It is always a marvelous day to be a Christian, but today, be a helping Christian and then try to carry that forward. Thread it through your life. Be known as that person who's always there for somebody. Take care. I'll see you next time.